And I think in a session like this, stories and examples can probably really resonate with people and also, convey the message best. So I was wondering, we've already shared a few and I think they've all been pretty poignant, but maybe if you have some that pop in your mind and we can use a baseline, like maybe talk about your best success story where you really helped a client and what that situation was.
Yeah, okay. An example where I really helped a client would be around waivers of liability, where we set a client up with a waiver that was specific to their business. They were doing something related to aerial silk yoga, which has to do where people basically hang upside down on these silks while they're doing yoga poses as well. And someone had gotten injured in the studio. There was a big problem around it. The amounts of damages were north of $100,000. And we were able to rely on the waiver of liability to, basically to avoid the situation escalating and going to court. And it was a simple, it wasn't so simple up front, but in the end, it was as simple as pointing to, that we explained what activities we were doing. We explained the specific risks. We were able to show that my client was not negligent in providing the services. And ultimately, you can take a claim for a lot of money and just resolve it by saying, legally, you've signed away your rights to bring an action against us. We've adequately explained to you what the risks are, what the outcomes of the risks are. You still agree to participate in the activities. And yeah, and so that would be an example that obviously it feels really, really good to be able to do that. And then just another example is one of my clients runs like an annual program. And there was someone who was really upset and was looking for a refund and wanted money for damages and all of these things. And again, because the client used the documents properly of, you send someone the document before you accept payment, they read through it, before you accept payment, they agree to be bound by the terms, and then you accept payment. If they go back and try to change their story or wanting to modify something, it's very easy just to say, hey, well, this is what you agreed to, and this is what the situation was. And Provision 8 of the agreement says no refunds once the services are provided. And then at least for me, it feels great because you see a client who's very nervous, very worried, very upset, not in a position to lose tens of thousands of dollars, but we're able to support them and protect them. So those are just two things that have happened recently that come to mind that feel really good.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, you definitely have a lot of interesting conversations day in and day out. So I'm sure if over some more tea, we could definitely start digging into some more of those. But we do have a time limit today, so we'll have to keep it at that. But I think that kind of stuff, this can be where someone listening, whether they hear something similar, this could help answer some questions, or maybe it can lead them to reach out to you guys to give them their own perspective and see what kind of help you could provide there. I would say too, maybe at this point, this could be a good segue to talk about the online course and the gift that we did have for listeners and what that's about.
So yeah, so I made an online course. When I first started Conscious Counsel in 2018, I made an online course. And the reason why I made that course is just like, the same conversations over and over again, and realizing that everyone has an equal misunderstanding of the law, or just an absence of understanding around what they need to know. So I was like, so every day I'm having conversations like, cool, well, why don't we just share the information and let people know? Then after COVID, I was having new conversations, but it was still the same conversation where people didn't understand things around vaccines. They didn't understand how to renegotiate a lease. They didn't know what their waiver needed to have. They didn't understand the importance needed for trademarks or how the landscape's changed. So I just recorded an online course called Don't Get Sued: Legal Essentials for Health and Fitness Professionals. And I'm happy to share it with everyone who's listening to, go through the course, have fun. We're giving you complimentary access, and just learning if anything that I've shared sort of sparked an interest, or you think maybe there's, something, you're hiding something in the closet, a legal issue, and you want to understand more. It's done in a very informal and relaxed way. It's pretty chilled. I share some of my clients' stories, and I recorded all of it in a cool jungle house I was living in Brazil. So at a minimum, the background is pretty sweet.
So they at least get that. They can transport themselves to where you're at for the time being.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to come visit Brazil, you're welcome.
All right. Take you up on that.
Cool.
And hey, you're sharing a lot of good content and ideas for people to consider on the legal side. Would you say you have any like books that you recommend to these fitness professionals, maybe both from like a legal but also a lifestyle perspective?
No, legally, I can't think of a single book that would apply. I wrote a book years ago called the Yoga Law Book, but I mean, sure, if you want to read it, you can. And that's sort of like, that was my story of starting to work with yoga clients. But I think other than that, I've been listening to a lot of mindset books lately. So there's a book that's called Mindset, which has been really helpful. There's a book that's called The Ultimate Sales Machine, which has been really helpful for my business because it's all about just implementing processes. And then Good to Great is another great book by Jim Collins. So like I could talk about business books forever, but like a legal book for fitness professionals, unfortunately, I don't have any recommendations.
That's all right. I also noticed on your guys' website, you had some pretty interesting influences that kind of that drives the ethos of who you guys are. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, I think the influences for my business, I think everyone, when they look at their own business, you could look at the different figures and people who have influenced you to come up with your own business and do things your own particular way. So it ranges. Like Alan Watts is one of my favorite teachers, just because he took something like, Zen philosophy and found a very unique, bohemian, open way to share it. Serena Williams is like a champion of a champion of a champion of someone who just continues to embody greatness and dedication to excellence and winning. And then Ace Ventura as well is just, he found a way to not take life too seriously and to bring lightness to all of the different situations that he was part. So I think we'll stick with that for today. Serena Williams, Alan Watts, and Ace Ventura.
Amazing. Love it. Nice. Well, hey, Cory, this has been a pretty fast moving, like a very action item oriented session. Unfortunately, we do have to start wrapping it up, but luckily listeners who are interested can go online and find this course in order to get more content, but also be more exposed to the work that you guys are doing. If they wanted to do something aside from the course, where would you say listeners can go to find more about the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, you could check out our Instagram, which is @Conscious Counsel. Our website is consciouscounsel.ca, so you can reach out to us. And if you just put Conscious Counsel in Google, a million things will show up. And would love to connect. The exciting part of my work is connecting with people and hearing what they're up to and helping take away the stress of legal issues for them. So yeah, please connect. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the course. And thanks so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, it's been our pleasure. And as we said, I think that there's a lot of very important things for people to listen into today. So I think you're doing a great service for the people in our industry. And we thank you for joining our show.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. That'll do it for this week's session. We'll see you next time. All right.
What books you got a ton of books there.
Yeah, well, I do have quite a few. A lot of them are in Dutch, so I can't read them. But if I think about some of the best ones, like the business ones, I think Atomic Habits is really an absolutely incredible book. We have a lot of sales books that we read as well. Like my day job is, I'm selling to big fitness chains all around Europe as well. So, there's one called Medic. It's like a sales philosophy. It's an acronym for something else.
METIK or METIC?
MEDICC, Medic. Yeah, it's like a medic, like in the army, a medic, but
got it.
More of like it's an acronym for a sales philosophy, which for us it's been really good. Another one called the Transparency Sale. I think that would run.
Wow.
Like that would be a really, really good fit for you guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have Atomic Habits is like 20 feet away from me right now.
It's I think I've read it twice now, and that guy James, I think his name is James Clear.
Yeah.
He's a very good writer, but it's like pretty much I feel like everything he's saying is just like that in itself is extremely quotable, and then it's just like a whole book of that. I think that is a powerful book.
I always revisit the last chapter where he summarizes it. I haven't read through all of it. I don't go to each chapter, but I find books like that, just like you go to the last chapter where he puts all of it together. And the biggest thing that I've learned just like in my life around that book is I think, I don't know what he calls it, but not putting temptation around you, like not giving yourself an opportunity to mess up, at least with food. Like I don't keep any food in my house that I'm not eating for a meal.
Yeah.
And then I'm in Canada and I'm sharing a home with my parents, and like they have all of this junk food and I just see myself eating all of the junk food. I'm like, wait, but I don't normally eat junk food, but it's because, and then I was like, so I took all the junk food and I put it in the garage.
Yeah. If it's in your house, it's in your mouth. That's just the way it is.
Wow. That's a quotable right there.
There it is. You can take that one with you.
Cool, man. I'm going to look into those books, and great to connect and keep it up. Thanks for having me, and we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. And, I was going to say, like, we had a franchising guy on a few weeks ago. I was talking to someone who was setting up their new franchise, and I connected them together, and now they're working together. Right. So if I see the opportunity, if they say, I fucking hate my lawyer or something like this,
yeah,
look, I have someone for you. Or if they're setting up a new business, because for us, I want to make sure that the people I talk to are successful as well. I want them to be successful. It's also good to connect people to good resources. So if I'm talking to a new business and I say, hey, I don't know who's doing your legal authority, but we know these guys, give them a look. We're super happy to do that kind of stuff as well.
Cool. I don't know any big chains in Europe that I can help you with, but
don't worry about that.
If anything comes across, obviously I'll do everything I can to support.
Doesn't have to be reciprocal. We're just happy to.
Just saying anyways.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you.
Me too. Have a good day. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Bye-bye.